Imagine you're playing Monopoly, but halfway through the game, someone secretly changes the value of the money. Your stack of cash, now worth half. Your opponents, they've been doubling up all along. That's not a game. That's a currency war, and it's happening right now. No shots fired, no declarations, no headlines in the news. Just governments quietly destroying their own money, on purpose. This is how the most powerful nations wage war in the 21st century. And the weapon they're using, your savings account. Today, we're going inside the war nobody broadcasts. The battle no analyst fully explains. The war that has been running silently for over a decade. This is the currency war. Let's go back to 1921. Post-World War I. The world is rebuilding. And Germany has a problem. Massive war reparations to pay. No gold left. No credibility. So Germany does the unthinkable. It prints money, endlessly. By 1923, a loaf of bread costs 200 billion marks. Workers were paid twice a day because prices changed by the hour. Now, take that scenario and multiply it across 12 countries, all doing it simultaneously, competing. That's a currency war. A race to the bottom, where winning means your money is worth less than everyone else's. Think of it like this. Imagine you sell cars. Your German competitor drops their price by 20%. So, you drop yours by 25%. They drop again. You drop again. The car prices collapse. Nobody actually wins. That's the exact dynamic playing out between the US, China, Japan, and the EU right now. So how does it actually work? It starts with something called exchange rates. Every country's currency has a value relative to others. $1 might buy 150 Japanese yen today, tomorrow 140. When a country weakens its currency, its exports become cheaper for foreign buyers. Cheaper exports mean more demand. More demand means more production, more jobs, more votes. This is why governments do it. The tool, central banks. They print money, lower interest rates, or directly intervene in foreign exchange markets. When the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates, money flows out of dollars into other currencies. The dollar weakens. When China pegs the yuan below its natural market value, it artificially makes every Chinese product cheaper worldwide. Japan has been doing this for 30 years. Trillions of yen printed. The yen has lost nearly 40% of its value since 2021 alone. And Europe? The ECB has held rates near zero, or negative, for over a decade. Negative interest rates. Read that again. You deposit money. The bank charges you for keeping it. Here's where it turns dangerous. When one country weakens its currency, its trading partners feel the squeeze. So they devalue too. Then the first country goes again, and the spiral begins. James Rickards called this the monetary equivalent of mutually assured destruction. Everyone shoots, nobody dies immediately. But the wound is slow. It bleeds into inflation, then debt, then crisis. And right now, you are living inside the third great currency war in modern history. The first was in the 1930s. The second started in the 1970s after Nixon ended the gold standard. This one started in 2010, and it has never ended. The spark was the 2008 financial crisis. Every major economy printed money to survive. But that printing never stopped. Then comes the turning point. August 2019. The US officially labels China a currency manipulator for the first time in 25 years. No missiles, no embargo, just a label. But markets crashed within hours. In currency wars, words are weapons. Perception is the battlefield. Then the pandemic hit, and every country printed more, faster, larger, and with less restraint than ever before. The Federal Reserve alone injected approximately $9 trillion into the economy between 2020 and 2022. $9 trillion. That figure exceeds the combined cost of every major American military conflict: World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the Gulf War. The result? By 2022, US inflation hit 9%. The UK hit 11%. Eastern Europe, over 20%. Groceries became luxuries. Rents doubled. Mortgage rates tripled. The middle class started shrinking. Then the Fed raised rates aggressively to fight inflation. The dollar surged and created a new crisis for everyone else. Developing nations hold trillions in dollar-denominated debt. When the dollar strengthens, that debt becomes more expensive to repay in local currency. Sri Lanka defaulted. Pakistan went to the IMF. Egypt devalued twice. The United States didn't invade. It just raised interest rates. Same result. So, what does this mean for you right now? Every dollar sitting in your savings account lost roughly 17% of its purchasing power between 2020 and 2023. No market crash, no headline. Your bank balance said the same number. But what that number could buy quietly shrank. Currency wars don't hurt the wealthy. They own assets. Currency wars hurt savers, workers, people on fixed incomes. It is a transfer of wealth from those who hold paper money to those who hold real assets. And it happens without a vote, without a law, without a war declaration. Now the BRICS nations are actively working to dethrone the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. Alternative payment systems, local currency trades, record gold purchases. China and Russia have largely exited their US Treasury holdings. If the dollar loses reserve currency status, the consequences for the American economy are almost impossible to overstate. Reserve currency status allows the United States to print money and have the whole world accept it. Lose that, you lose the empire. China knows this. The digital yuan is being piloted in 50-plus countries. Belt and Road has embedded Chinese financial infrastructure across 3 continents. Every Chinese trade deal settled in yuan, not dollars. That's the strategy. Here is the unsettling truth. There are no rules in a currency war. The WTO governs goods. The UN governs conflicts. But currency manipulation has no governing body. Governments devalue in secret. They deny it in press conferences. And the damage accumulates in your grocery bill, your rent, your retirement savings. History shows only 3 outcomes to a currency war. A new international agreement, like Bretton Woods in 1944 or the Plaza Accord in 1985. A collapse so severe it forces nations to the negotiating table. Or a war fought with weapons. That reshapes the global order entirely. In 1944, it took the complete devastation of World War II to get 44 nations into one room. Today, nobody is in the room, and the printing presses are still running. What protects you? Hard assets, real estate, commodities, gold. Geographic diversification, things that hold value when paper doesn't. The deepest protection is understanding. You cannot defend yourself from a war you cannot see. Now you can see it. The most powerful weapon any government has is not a military, not a nuclear arsenal. It's a printing press. And every major power on Earth has one and is using it. The question isn't whether the currency war ends. It's what ends it. And who's left standing? If the US dollar loses reserve currency status in your lifetime, what happens to the average person? Drop your answer below. Best responses get pinned.